I'm starting a cult and you guys are all gonna be a part of it.
Don't you want devoted followers who leave their families for you, give their money to you, give their bodies to you, give up their lives for you?
No one is actually doing rituals or sacrificing an animal. Our animals as a sacrifice. Our animals as a sacrifice. Our animals as a sacrifice.
Hello, fellow children of the Waning Star. I wanted to give an update on how my life has changed since I joined. I've had a dream about an entity telling me I have to sacrifice someone.
In recent days, the children of the Waning Star have flooded TikTok feeds with loyal worship for their creator, Gigi Jarvis, an obsession with this strange and interesting symbol, and worship for what some of them have called, quote, the entity. And while the controversy surrounding this group has continued to rise, many still call themselves devoted followers, documenting themselves making sacrifices for the group, praising the entity, and dedicating their entire online presences to express their adulation for Gigi Jarvis. And we really do have a lot to discuss today, as I honestly really did go down a rabbit hole while looking up information for this whole situation. So join me as we deep dive into the alleged TikTok cult, Children of the Waning Star, and their creator, Gigi Jarvis. I don't know, I personally think this is a very interesting situation. Will these type of groups be more commonplace as the internet's capacity for social connection continues to expand, as the internet's presence in our daily lives continues to expand? There's been a lot of debate regarding this group, whether this group is truly founded as a community, or whether in the quest for social media clout and attention, she ended up creating something so much more devious. And we'll also hear stories from those who are actually victims of former cults and currently active cults, and their thoughts on this entire situation. But before we dive right into this story, I just want to thank everyone again so much for their love and support. It's honestly been so amazing and overwhelming at times. I'm just really grateful to all of you guys who have decided to support the channel. And today, I am going to announce a new way to interact with me and a new way to just, I don't know. I am announcing a new Instagram page. I will be putting the information on the screen for you all right now. I am going to try to be fairly active on there, offering insights into, new content, maybe posting a few reels or whatever. Follow me there if you want to see a bit more from me throughout the week. And I will also do things like polls and Q&As to get audience feedback. I just like to thank you all so much, and if you do like this type of content, please like and subscribe. It really will help to support the channel. And I'd also like to offer a trigger warning for a lot of things. I'm going to put a lot of things on screen right now, but we're definitely going to be dealing with a lot, because this is something that I think is very deep, and a lot of people have maybe not taken it as serious as I think it is. But let's just start discussing the Children of the Waning Star. We're just going to start by discussing the creator of this group, who is Gigi Jarvis. Gigi Jarvis does really have a massive digital footprint online. She has so much content of her. She really gives this essence of somebody who really wants to be an internet celebrity or famous online, in my opinion. But I do want to just remind everybody not to harass anybody involved in the situation. I think that holding someone accountable is different from harassment, of course. Let's not bully her or whatever online. Let's just stick to holding her accountable for this really egregiously bad action, in my opinion. Despite the account that she actually ended up basically creating this cult on being only a month old, she has gained over 100,000 followers on TikTok and over 1 million likes. And if you know anything about TikTok or social media, you know that this is really massive, especially in today's environment where the view to follower ratio is just lower than ever. This is no surprise given Jarvis's background, not only in social media, but also in marketing. I did do a little bit of a deep dive into her professional profiles, her LinkedIn, which I don't think that's stalking, because she literally did mention the fact that she had one and was gonna add this to her resume. But she appears to have both a degree in sociology and marketing, and this will be very important later, as she will kind of claim that she had no idea what the word cult means. And I just find that really crazy as someone who is not only just online, but as someone who has a sociology degree, you have no idea what that is. We'll get more into that later, but I just wanted to bring that up. She is also an actor and model. Apparently she's been in a lot of advertising campaigns, doing things like Cinnabon ads, and even being an extra in a Lil Nas X music video, which is very interesting. Now, the reason I bring this up is not to stalk her, but I think it's very important when we talk about this entire picture, when we talk about this entire foundation of the cult. This does not seem like a girl who just happened to go viral. As I was looking up and down her account, I kept seeing her mention this, oh, I'm doing this 2-week challenge, oh, I'm doing this XYZ challenge. She really seemed interested and knowledgeable in how to build an audience on this platform. And I don't know if this was another way to do that or whatever, but you see the immediate shift and the immediate increase in views as soon as she starts mentioning this idea of creating a cult. But now that we've discussed some of Gigi Jarvis's own background, let's go through the first few days of the Children of the Waning Star and its limited 4-day existence. I did just want to mention that Gigi had already had some of an audience before this, and in the video before, she had mentioned in the caption that feeling crazy, like might start a cult soon, and then immediately, basically like 1 day later, we get this video, which kickstarted the whole controversy and just blew up.
Starting a cult and you guys are all going to be a part of it. The first thing I want to start doing is Victim of the Week, where whoever drops the funniest photo in my comment section, I'm going to steal your profile picture and become you for a whole week. Also, anyone that follows me, feel free to chime in on the rules to our little society. Like, I feel like holidays could be really fun for us, or maybe, like, we have a certain emoji so you know that you're in the inn, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just feel like it'd be really good for us. Let me know.
So that is the first video that is really what establishes this whole entire group, this whole entire society. She immediately interacts with her audience in a way to evoke participation, asking them for certain things, to get more comments on the video. And, like, mainly the controversy here is lying with people finding issue, rightfully so, with the use of the phrase cult in this manner. The top comment being, can we not romanticize cults? Cults aren't silly or cute. But there's also some supporters here. You can see there's people who are already starting to get roped in. Someone saying, first cult, kind of nervous. Can we not romanticize cults, please? And then people who are really actually, like, calling her out. Like, this is one thing that I've noted, because later on she'll kind of claim that she didn't know the meaning of the cult, that she didn't understand that this was such a bad thing. But here you can literally see people are calling her out again and again and again in, like, the comments. And these are top comments. She's not deleting any comments seemingly. She is able to look through these comments to find follower notifications and follower comments, but she never interacts once with these negative comments that are rightfully so calling her out. And then there are also people who are like, immediately like, like nothing has happened yet. Why are people treating this like an actual dangerous cult? This is just a random girl, bro. And I did also want to bring up something as an old head, I guess. 2020, I definitely remember there was a lot of profile picture cults, and that was basically someone making themselves their profile picture or taking a funny image of themselves and encouraging others to have that profile picture. It was much more, I would say, loose than what this ended up becoming. It was basically just, hey, let's do this funny, cute little thing. I think some people, a lot of the people who are joining instantly, kind of expected that type of thing instead of what it actually eventually became, which sadly seems to be her playing into her own followers, kind of, I'm not going to get too far in it, but their own delusions. But again, most of the controversy revolving on the fact that she used the word cult, which is rightfully so, I think, offensive and horrific to use in such a way. Honestly, as someone looking back at the TikTok cults of the past, I don't think we should be using this word as flippantly as we are. That word has been used to describe things like the Manson family cult that literally took the life of Sharon Tate, or the Heaven's Gate cult that led over 39 of its members to take their own lives. So, like, the willingness to use this term and the tacit approval of many toward this term and kind of the flippant way that we have used this term, I think shows how desensitized a lot of people have become to true crime. And it's not just me spitballing, as a study conducted by Harvard in 2019 found that those who were continuously shown footage of crimes would become less disturbed by what they saw, concluding that, quote, these results suggest a phenomenon of desensitization or habituation of victims to crime exposure. Now, it did focus specifically on people who were victims of crime, but I do also think that plays a role here, as people who are continuously shown these clips over and over again, whether it be in our local news, whether it be on the internet, where true crime is a massive phenomenon, a massively growing industry, where terms are being thrown left and right. And there's also this new culture on TikTok that I think is very, like, obsessed with finding real life horror stories. Now, on day 2, a lot would end up happening in the world of the Children of the Waning Star. Now, that still lacked a name, as Jarvis would continuously ask for audience participation in these types of decisions. in my opinion, in a way to garner comments and garner that interaction rate or engagement rate to be higher. Again, this is a person who literally has a marketing degree. But let's just watch these few videos and I'll just show you because lots of things are happening.
Cult leader here. We have a popular cult member request and I want to make it law. But I was wondering what day you guys think we should do this on and also what we should do each month. I saw a member suggest that we use lime emojis for the day because ew. And then I saw another one say that maybe each month we comment photos of our animals as a sacrifice. Those are just some suggestions. Anywho, whatever the top member comment is on this post will become our law, so vote wisely.
Now again, this idea of her using these member comments, her continuously using these terms that are very negative and very disturbing. Animal sacrifice? Animals as sacrifice? No, just no. Hey, so as a witch pretending sacrificing your animals is sure to invoke some sort of chaos in you and your animals' lives. They're real entities listening and seeking to take advantage of you. I don't know what y'all's beliefs are, but again, people are sitting here warning them. What is your problem? Second day being in a cult, kind of nervous. So there are some people who are still very devoted to this group. You can even see the emoji combo that would later become a symbol of this group. I'm on my computer, you can't see it, but it's basically a star kind of looking symbol and the fingerprint emoji. Saying the word animals and sacrifice together has made people think kill their pets, not just in photos of them. So be very careful of your words, one person says. So yeah, I think the criticism had definitely ramped up and a lot more people were aware of this situation because her wording here is just very irresponsible. Now let's watch second video of day 2 because I have a lot of thoughts on day 2 as a whole.
Now that I've gaslit you into our cult, I'm going to explain to you why I'm the perfect leader with all the reasons I should be canceled for. Number 1, I was one of those cringe anime TikTokers in 2020. I might have started the Levi Ackerman x Alvin and the Chipmunks ship, but that just showcases that I'm really good at leading a movement. Number 2 is that I snuck into FurryCon, which showcases that I get the job done. Number 3 is that on my other account, I used to make videos saying run, don't walk to the TikTok shop, which showcases my heart is full of evil and perfect for the cause. I've also done a bunch of super evil, super really cool things, but I signed NDAs for all of that, so I can't tell you. But just know that I'm the perfect person for the job.
She tried to do this thing with like get to know your cult leader or whatever. I don't know if she was trying to get more audience engagement, more participation, more people endeared to her, in my opinion. But the comments are still not on her side. You're not funny or quirky for this, by the way. Cults have patterns and structures that lead to harm and control. You will all inevitably fall into those patterns. Why are we normalizing a cult just because she said so and now she's bragging? Making cults isn't cute. People's lives are actually affected. She literally just said she's a good leader for making an Alvin Chipmunk x Levi Ackerman ship, and people are taking this serious. Like, why are we... And I have noticed this pattern of nonchalance or whatever on TikTok. Like, people are like, why are we taking this serious? Why do people care? In my opinion, we'll see some of the follow videos later. I think this should be concerning. I don't think this is a situation where it's like, oh my gosh, we have to ban TikTok. Oh my gosh, we have to take all these kids off their phones. But there is definitely some people online who attach themselves to these type of trends. And regardless of what she's saying, they will attach themselves to her, attach themselves to, oh, she said animal sacrifice, attach themselves to, oh, she said devote loyalty to me or whatever. She is very irresponsible, I think, in playing into these delusions and playing into these people who clearly need help. So I think this is a situation where it's serious, and we will also hear from people who actually were in cults who discuss how they feel that this is actually concerning behavior. So we're going to watch the last TikTok of day 2, which is choosing our symbol. And here is where I think a lot more people get upset and a lot more people start to call out this because she continuously is ironic in a way where it's like, you're calling yourself a cult leader, you're calling yourself this, and now you're openly telling your followers to low-key brand them. Even if that's ironic, it's not funny.
Cult symbol. This is how we know who is in the inn. Don't think of the emoji as a texting thing. Think of it as me literally coming to you and branding it onto your skin. Anywho, be clever with it. The member with the comment with the most likes on this video will be choosing our symbol, so vote wisely.
I'm so split. I don't know whether she was legitimately trying to either A, get clout, either B, she thought this was funny and it ended up going too far, or C, this was a malicious kind of thing where she was like, how devoted can I get these people online to be to me? I don't know. It could have been either of those. Only she honestly knows what her intentions with this were, but I think it's very dangerous to go around creating a cult claiming that you're doing all this stuff and saying, quote, I'm branding your skin with our symbol, because there are some people who take this literally. So it's very disturbing to see how she continuously plays into this. But again, the comments are not on her side. What in the kindergarten game is this? I have no idea what that emoji means. I translated it and it said camera. I really couldn't tell you. Cults tend to be secretive, manipulative, abusive. Cults thrive off abuse and manipulation. They're controlling, they're also dangerous and known for sacrifice. People in cults have cut themselves, offered blood, and more for a Gigi. That's what someone's claiming. I have not seen evidence, full evidence of this, but I have seen evidence of people offering things to Gigi, which I think is still disturbing. I really wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I want to not believe the worst in people immediately, but part of me thinks that she mentioned these things as a form of rage bait to try to get that engagement out of people, which, again, rage bait is something that comes up time and time again on this channel, because on TikTok, online, for some reason, rage bait is a new big thing that everybody needs to do to keep their channel afloat, to get that attention, to keep the engagement rate up. But I do have to remember that she did have social media experience. There also are those who do believe that she had a malicious intent or a malicious element to this, that this was in some way supporting her ego, or that this was in some way boosting her own ego up. So the cult would officially get its name, and honestly, I see this as a point of no return. She was continuously getting these comments, negative comments, but she was still picking out positive cult follower comments. I think that further made people want to act more insane as a way to get her attention, because, oh my gosh, I could be under her video. I could be the comment. I could totally change the direction of this group, or this cult, as she has continuously called it. She could have stopped here, apologized, acknowledge the hundreds of comments that were telling her basically to stop, but the shimmer of fame was just so good for her that she just couldn't stop for some reason.
Actually selected the symbols for our cult. We are doing the fingerprint and then the star, like above. Honorable mention to cult member One Silly Billy, because they have the most likes on their comment, but I couldn't video stitch it. Also, by doing the fingerprint and the star, hopefully if it comes up as a square for the non-Apple users, you could still tell who's who because of the star next to it. So congratulations, once you fall asleep, I'm going to sneak into your home and carve it into your skin. But in the meantime, feel free to put it in your bio or other places.
And again, it's like she's joking, but I feel like she's purposely doing this as a way to incite just rage in people who are absolutely disgusted by this behavior. Because, hear me out, if you go back to the profile picture cults, most of them, there may be a few and a handful of them that were actually problematic, that people were actually being really weird in. But this is a cult based on a person who's not just using this as a method to gain more followers on TikTok, but who's actively seeming to revel in this attention, in my opinion, and is actively continuing to do this in the face of constant criticism and constant people telling you, hey, this is offensive, this is bad, this is not. Again, the comments, cults aren't funny at all. Why is there no hate? Let's not romanticize cults. Carve it into your skin, what? People are just throwing around the word cult. I think the last symbol should be a job application. But I'm really trying to find people who are supportive of her. And I can't. Hi, is this rage bait? Day 3 of asking, is the cult LGBT friendly? Cult time. First cult, kinda nervous. This isn't a cult, mate. Waiting so I could change my user. So yeah, there are still people who are very open to this. And there is just one more on this day, which is choosing the name. I mean, we can watch it together.
The time has finally come. We're going to name the cult. A lot of members have been asking about it, and I kind of want to start a Wikipedia page or a Reddit page of our lore, so we definitely need a name. Think of something clever. The member that has the highest like comment on this video will be naming our cult, so make sure you vote wisely.
So yeah, she decides the name, but most people are like, children of the job application, why is romanticizing cults normalized? But there are people who are continuing to interact with this group and offer suggestions. The astral hand, the star mark, the fingerprint constellation, the celestial imprint, the stellar trace. I really do truly find this extremely disturbing, extremely scary to see the amount of people who are just open and ready to start interacting with this. But if you're wondering why so many people are just ready to join community, are feeling maybe so lonely, I think this plays into the fact that we as a society are very disconnected now, and like how community is something that a lot of people are seeking and trying to find, especially younger people, and it becomes somewhat impossible for a lot of people in real life. This is not to excuse people who are actively participating in this harmful rhetoric or kind of minimizing this impact of this cult or whatever, but I just wanted to mention this because I think this is important on a wider scale. This is really explained extremely well in Stanford Review's interview with psychologist Jamil Zaki, where they basically explained how the internet had changed people's willingness to find community and their ability to, as a lot of this stuff could be done online. They said this: we could one-click order meals in nearly any product, practice yoga on YouTube, and even pray through an app. Communal activities don't have to be done in community, so we stay at home. Going out has become like working out. We feel better after doing it, but it takes energy to get started. And to offer my own personal experience, I know this isn't as important as, like, there is a lot of disconnect and a lot of time spent on the internet for me, which might not be the best. And I'd argue for other people, like especially like younger teenagers, there's this additional barrier of commuting, especially in many suburban communities where a lot of people, I'm talking to my Americans and maybe some of my Canadians as well, a lot of suburban communities where the nearest hangout spot is literally a 10-minute drive away. Something that is not, I don't think, accessible to a lot of these teenagers who really can't afford the expenses associated with vehicles or cars. And even if they are able to afford the vehicles, they are often disappointed with what's available. There is a lot of discussion regarding the lack of third spaces now. There is a lack of places where people can go, or like, I feel like it's not as well known or as well experienced. Like, places like libraries, places like community centers, places like that where people can just go to hang out, go to exist, instead of going to either work or eat or shop. That seems like the only three things that you can do, apparently. Drive into any suburban town and you'll see these massive strip malls full of parking lots and just like restaurants, grocery stores. That's pretty much it. There is such a lack of emphasis on these third spaces, and cafes and things like that. A lot of them have been turned to kind of morning hubs of like, let me be in and out, let me get my caffeine boost before work. It's kind of just like that, instead of what some people say it used to be, which was, you know, being able to sit down and chat to somebody and react and interact with your community. Now, does that excuse some of this, hinge behavior? No. But we will also get into how mental health resources are not exactly accessible for a lot of people, and I do empathize with some of these people who may be going through psychosis. I'm not a mental health professional, I'm just spitballing here, but some people are saying that this has made their psychosis worse. They're scared that they'll end up falling into this. I believe that Gigi actively ends up playing into this, especially as we get into day 4, where name announcements and things like that would come out. So on day 4, Gigi would announce the name. Officially, the children of the Waning Star would be decided. And the comments have been increasingly not on her side by this point. I don't think we really need to react to the name announcement, but I do think this last video, which is her establishing this idea of the entity, I think this is something that's very important and very scary, because I think this is, in my opinion, this is her most direct interaction with these people. That is, I'm actively playing into the mental illness of some of these people, of people who have been very devoted to this. I'm actively playing into this. The other stuff, I feel like, while wrong and nasty and disgusting for her to joke about animal sacrifice, for her to joke about all these other very serious things, there is no reason for her to have created this so-called entity, for her to basically turn this into a religion. There is no, like, I don't know, I don't get it. I don't think this was a joke. I'm not saying I got the other stuff. Of course, it's disgusting as well, but, like, this is, like, really weird to me.
Many members have mentioned an entity come and visit them. Was the entity the Waning Star itself, or maybe a mythical creature that guards the star? Please let me know on this video. The member that has the most people agree with them will be talked about in tomorrow's meeting. Once we figure out what the entity is, we can then name it and then provide offers.
Now, like, I'm sorry, but what are we, like, naming and creating this type of entity or this religious belief around this entity for? It's getting weird. It's been weird, but this is like another level of like, girl, people are already calling you out for creating a cult, and now you're making a god for this cult. The entity was a job application. Can we not romanticize psychosis in cults? It was a job application, let it in. To when the entity is called schizophrenia, I fear. Let's not start cults, maybe. The entity was a bar of soap, the 24 karat Labubu spirit. And someone says this: the children of the waning star might seem like a harmless TikTok joke, but it actually glamorizes and trivializes the real harm caused by cults. By turning cult behavior into an aesthetic, it normalizes manipulation, isolates vulnerable people, and disrespects those who have experienced real trauma. It's not just a trend, it's a dangerous idea just up as fun. Now, I do think one thing that I find scary about this whole group is the fact that a lot of people think that this is something that's not that serious, which I think is scary because I think that honestly in this age, we will start to see more online cults. There are a lot of people who are very obsessed, very self-indulgent, who want that kind of attention, who would be happy with this type of worship and stuff. So to see her actively play into this, to see people actively dismiss this, and I don't blame these people again because maybe you didn't want to sit here and watch all these 5 videos, because honestly, when I heard about it at first, I had no idea what was going on and I hadn't deep dived into this. I didn't really, this is bad, but I didn't really care. I didn't really think this was serious. I didn't really think that this was something that was crazy. And then I came across this video of this alleged minor who was sitting here talking about how they wanted to devote their lives to this person, how they wanted to do all this and that. And that's when I really had to put on the brakes. This is something that I think is really disturbing. This is something that's actually scaring me at this point. So her directly validating these feelings, I think, is very harmful. But I think people don't understand how dangerous this can be. And so during this entire time, there were a lot of people calling this behavior out, and people who were calling out this entire group, especially people who had actually survived cults in the past. And there was a lot of denialism, which I didn't like, which was like, oh, now everybody's in a cult now. Can y'all just not sit and listen to these people who actually understand what's going on here? I get it that we don't want to take TikTok stuff seriously, but like, I think this nonchalance is kind of starting to irritate me in a way, especially after you hear the stories of these cult survivors. But at the same time, I do get it on this first post a little bit because it is just text. So,
Don't you want to become a cult leader?
So this was the video, it was just text, and people were saying, I don't even feel bad for the people who joined. You guys read cult and joined it anyways. Online cult. I blocked Gigi Jarvis out of fear. Children of the Waning Star sounds like 1-2. I'm scared for y'all. Online cult is killing me. Online cult girl, you're 20. I thought it was a PFP cult like the hiccup one. I'm so sorry. It shows how much of them are trend hoppers. My friend told me to put the emojis in my name. And then someone calls out a really good point. She has a degree in sociology. She well knows what the difference between a nice community and a cult is. Call me crazy or like chronically in line for saying this, but I really feel like it is going to become a thing. Like, I really do. And I don't find it crazy that people are going to start using the internet as a way to do this type of stuff. I think that these people are going to use the fact that people don't take like online stuff seriously to continue to engage in this type of behavior. Oh, people aren't going to like, you're not in an online cult. They're going to be like, oh yeah, these people could leave at any time. They could just leave the group chat. They can just do whatever. But via online, I think a lot of stuff could be done. People could have trackers on these people. They could have like location tracking on all these members. They could say like, oh, if you leave, you will be tracked down and hunted. There can be this aspect of fear that can translate from online into real life in these groups. So I think people balking at this idea of an online cult, maybe not like grasping the fact that this is something that sadly, I don't think this is going to be the last time we see this type of cult. So this person was a member of the former group Averno, created by Morgan Smith. It seemed to be a 2020 like ARG type of thing, but there was an entire Google Doc, 12 pages long, littered with allegations. And it is full of allegations of abuse. But yeah, TikTok did show like a lot of people weren't taking this seriously, weren't seriously engaging with this idea. But I do think it's important to discuss. There are people who are not mentally sound. There are people who are vulnerable online. There are a lot of vulnerable minors online who are very susceptible to this type of thing. So looking at the members of this cult, let's just look at this because I think that this proves that this goes beyond this original scope and into something that I think is harmful. This entire page. So they say they're a minor. I'm a child of the Waning Star, joined brothers and sisters.
Hello, children of the Waning Star. I have just joined and I already feel empowered, loved like never before. I've made a secret account since my earls would find it weird. They don't support our community. I have this urge to make a sacrifice. I'm also tempted to draw on or carve our symbol onto my skin. But nonetheless, I need your support. So please follow and interact, and we can all support our...
So yeah, I think these follower videos really made me understand just how impactful this was and how dangerous this actually was, because people are doing this type of thing and it's disturbing. People are telling them, honey, please get help. This is not normal. They say, I felt more happiness in the children of Waning Star than I have in 4 years. You're under spells, people. Do not trust in Gigi. She's a human being. You're mad, weird, disgusting. Yeah, this is really scary, but people are saying this gotta be rage bait. Unfortunately, I think it's real. I also agree because I did reverse image search. I know this is not gonna be 100% accurate because I was like, oh, this just looks like one of those background videos. Well, the hands are consistent throughout the videos, and I did do a reverse image search on one of the freeze frames where there was not that much text on it. No hits. So I unfortunately feel like this is very, very, very real, and this is scary because Gigi has played into the delusions and the illness of these people.
How dare you attack our entity? Gigi, our savior, has done nothing but spread love. She does not promote any violence whatsoever. Ever since joining the Waning Star, I have felt nothing but bliss.
But yeah, this is terrifying. Like, this is honestly really terrifying.
Hello, children of the Waning Star. I had another horrible dream. Yesterday I decided to carve my thighs of the Waning Star symbol. Here's proof. And in the dream, Gigi said I was a disgrace and I was sick in the head for carving the star on my thigh.
In a freeze frame, they showed proof of them harming. And I could see what appeared to be skin carved and, yeah, in the shape of that symbol, or the shape of a symbol similar to that of the groups. I pray that people in the comments, if this is not real, if this has been proven false, and I haven't seen it somewhere, I pray that this is proven false because I really don't want people to be doing this stuff, but I think it's important to show this because this is having a wider impact. Now, Gigi does finally apologize and finally kind of changes this cult into a community. So let's just watch one of her, because she has like multiple apologies. I think we watch one of them.
Hey guys, so I wanted to come on here as my actual self and be transparent as I can about everything going on because it's insane. But yeah, a lot of people have been asking me like, what exactly are we and what are our goals moving forward? And I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. But to start it all off, we're on day 5. We're on day 5 and we have nearly 150,000 people, which is insane. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but 6 days ago, I was a nobody. I'm not some influencer that came on here and I was like, guys, literally join my cult. No, I put my dog down, had my birthday, and was just like, I feel crazy. I'm going to post something crazy. And then all of a sudden, a lot of you came to me and was just like, I'm down to be a part of something. And that's when it hit me. I was like, this can be something amazing. This could be something really great. And for me, my goals with Children of the Waning Star currently is I want us to create an inclusive community that thrives off kindness. I know that is such a cornball thing to say, and I know it's ironic, especially calling it a cult. But my friends told me like, hey, you should monetize this. You should make subscriptions. You should. I've heard people say make initiations, but no, I personally don't want that. If you want to be a part of this, I want you.
This is weird. This is weird. She's still continuing to not kind of address the fundamental allegations. We're almost 1 minute in. She has not addressed the fundamental allegations. She is continuing to almost deify herself. I'm so humble. I didn't want to monetize this. I just want to make a community of joy. This is like actual, like, I'm not an expert, but this is giving like cultish.
You here. I want you here, and that's enough, you know? I know a lot of people have been like DMing me on Instagram. They're like, hey, like, what can I do to prove that I'm worthy of... You're enough, I promise you. And I want to make a group of people that can showcase to you that, like, you matter. And I want to implement, and I've been trying to implement this, but a voting system. I like the idea that I can ask a question like, what do we think about this? And y'all get to tell me what you think. I love scrolling through that stuff. And it's so kind. It's so awesome to see that, like, I'm used to trolls. I'm used to hate accounts, you know, like, and I'll look at someone's response to, like, I think this idea in the comment section is all just people responding to them being like, I like it too, like, this is awesome. And it's like, wow, people have a place, a third party place where they can be heard and accepted for who they are, their ideas, their creativity. And wow, how beautiful is that? That's crazy. And like I said, I was a nobody a few days ago. And I mean, I know I said I was an anime TikToker, but like, I only had the viral Levi and like Alvin ship. Like, I wasn't a big account. This is the biggest platform I've ever been a part of. And with that, I know that there's responsibilities, and we're on day 5, and I know it's a lot to ask, like, guys, be patient with me, but, like, genuinely, I feel like a good relationship, it can't be me coming to you being like, my brother has Down syndrome and autism, I do nonprofits for a living. Like, I can't just info dump on you, because then all of a sudden you're gonna be like, okay, it's performative, you know, and I guess I'm asking to be given a little grace during this time, because I know in my heart I have good intentions, and anything I do, I am trying to do, like, for, I don't know, like, you. And I know that, like, being called a cult was not the best. There's definitely other names to call this, but now that because of using a clickbait word, we have...
Because of using a clickbait word. So again, going back to this idea of her using this rage bait to attract an audience. And we're going to watch a video from somebody who is actually a cult survivor, but we're about halfway through the video. Guys, I'm not getting good vibes from this. I'm not getting a lick of accountability. I'm not getting anything. And I'm not saying that she can't mention, you know, that she works in nonprofits. She can't mention that she whatever. That's perfectly fine to mention, but I feel like in this type of scenario where we're talking about people actually having issues with you using this word, people actually having issues with you using this phrasing, and you're continuing to kind of skirt past it and, you know, talk about how you're this amazing person, it is very weird to me. I don't know.
Develop this into a platform, a cultural movement. The engagement is so high. I would love to give back in a sense that I'm posting resources about, like, what is a cult, like, how to navigate that. Also, I would love to do mental health. I would love to showcase, like, things that could help the members of this. And while, like, also, like, I don't know if this has been noticed or anything, but anyone that creates any kind of art, I try so hard to repost it. I want to showcase, like, what you have done, the energy, the skill, the time you have put forward to, like, helping cultivate this. This is amazing. That is amazing. And then it's even more beautiful to see that I will repost something, and then a lot of people with the emoji will go in and, like, comment the kindest things on that person's post. Like, wow, it's genuinely an honor to have been chosen by you guys to help be a part of something this big. Sorry, I'm like, but yeah, and I know people have been asking about, like, you know, like, what can I prove? What can I do to, like, be bigger in this community? Is there roles I can take on? No, like, genuinely, this is also a cornball thing to say, but I think kindness, it comes back in, like, threefold or whatever. But, like, I can tell if you're a part of the group because I stalk you guys. I stalk you guys and I read the comments, and it's so nice to see that, like, I don't know, when we were choosing the emojis, a lot of people struggled with, like, how to choose the emoji, and other people were in the comment sections being like, hey, this is how you do it. This is how, like, that is amazing to have a community of people. I know you guys are trying to make something amazing because of how you treat the people around you, and it's like, oh, sorry, I'm, like, emotional. But yeah, and I know it's a lot to ask to be like, hey, I'm a nobody. And I know I say a lot of out-of-pocket things to get the attention of people, and I know it's probably not the best hill to die on, but I genuinely think that, like, this is, like, so much bigger than me. I know it's not about me. I know I get edits, but, like, genuinely, if it was ever about me.
If it was ever about me, then I would have probably had a following before this. It's not about you, yet you made this whole video about you. You made this whole video about how you're this amazing person, how you are this great person, how... because you're this great person, you didn't have any bad intentions, whatever. We're not gonna, like, I don't know. I don't like them making this whole video about them.
I would have probably had a following before this. But yeah, I want to give back as best as I can. I want to showcase you guys. I want to have resources here. I want to create, like, a community. And I know it's a lot to ask for you guys to trust that, like, I can help guide this in a direction, and that the intentions are good, especially with the irony of everything. But yeah, I would love to be able to grow with you guys. And I know it's like, it's a big ask. And also, like, if what I say and do, like, I'm not racist, I'm not homophobic, I'm not any of that. Literally, one of my biggest morals is to make sure I never do something intentionally to hurt another person. And if I do, I am trying my best to learn how I can make things right. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm new to this, and I do things differently. I don't want conventions. I want to host, like, huge events where we all hang out. Like, I know I'm not the normal candidate for things like that.
There is about 1 more minute of content in that video, or 30 seconds of content in that video, but she's basically just emphasizing that she can be trusted to be this good leader, and, you know, there's a lot of hardship and a lot of stuff that goes with this, but don't worry, we can trust her. And also, I do find it interesting because if you look back historically, if you know anything about Jonestown, a big draw to that entire thing was that this was taken during an era where racism was rampant, but Jim Jones, the leader of that group, was able to amass such an audience, such a following of Black people, because one of his major things, one of the major aspects of his whole entire cult would be anti-racism and this idea that, oh, we can all just live together, oh, whatever. So this is something that is legitimately used as a tactic to target people who are in marginalized communities. Listen, I don't want her to sit here and say I'm homophobic, but, like, a lot of things are lining up and it's very strange and it's very odd. I'm just saying. So now, lastly, we are going to be reacting to a video by someone who is a cult survivor, and they did, I think they're talking about this video here where Gigi was, quote, addressing things.
Cult survivor, I want to talk about the children of the Waning Star. If you don't know of them, good. They're a TikTok cult, and they've been around for like 6 days. And in those 6 days, they have accrued about, I want to say, over 100,000 followers for their leader. Now, people seem to be approaching this with like one of 3 schools of thought, at least people who haven't joined. One being, hey, don't use the word cult, maybe just use club or group or whatever, because this just cheapens the word and it minimizes people's trauma. These people seem to believe her when she says that she was just using cult as like a clickbaity term and really just wanted to give people a place where they belong, and that sounds like a cult. The second school of thought is that she's starting a cult, but she's doing it by accident. Like, she started out kind of LARPing and she got in over her head. Like, she's unaware that it's turning into one. I'm personally of the third school of thought, where she's started a cult and she knows that she has and she intends to do so. So no, her change.
So I think this is a really interesting analysis because honestly, I found myself in the second school of thought where I thought that she, maybe didn't mean to start this, but we're going to keep watching, sorry, but I really think that this creator explains extremely well how Gigi has used this platform to manipulate an audience and foster a group of loyal followers.
Changing the name from cult to something else, it's not going to help. Most cults don't call themselves cults. And people may say, no shit, Blue, she's got a whole playlist about her cult and how she's a cult leader and this is her cult's entities and their rituals and their symbols. That playlist did not convince me that she did this on purpose. That's not what got me. That alone could just be someone goofing around on the internet and really wanting something to belong to and giving other people that something to belong to. And again, it gets out of hand. What convinced me that she is thriving on this attention is a more recent video in which she says, I just wanted to come on here as like my actual self and talk about how, goes on about how this is just supposed to be a group thriving on kindness and generosity and people loving each other and supporting each other. Sunshine, rainbows, kumbaya. And the reason that video got me is because she did come on here as her genuine self in that video. But in my opinion, and just my opinion, we don't attack people based off my opinion, that's cult behavior. In my opinion, she didn't mean to. She meant to act genuine, but I don't think she knows how badly her mask seemed to slip. The first big slip I noticed was when, out of nowhere, she just starts talking about a disabled family member and the fact that she makes a living doing nonprofit work. As someone with ADHD, I understand.
Yeah, that is true. And I feel like people do this a lot in addressing videos. And for this to be I'm coming on as my real self, I'm somewhat addressing some of the things. Her basically addressing a little bit that cult maybe was not the best term to use. I was doing the rage bait. And then going immediately into this is, I don't know, maybe me seeing this other person validate that thought was kind of, I don't know, that kind of unlocked something in me.
Jumping around a topic and kind of not making sense to other people. But what struck me as odd is that when she brought this up, she was talking about establishing a relationship with her following and saying, and I didn't want to just come out here and say, and then drops this information about how great she is and how her sibling is disabled, and then goes, well, I didn't want to just info dump that because it would seem performative. It does seem performative. It seems like you are performatively trying to endear yourself to people, and you know that people will call you on that, so you're calling it first to disarm people, and that is not the best or most skilled tactic. But what kind of sold me on this being something she is just ranking up is her saying something along the lines of, it's not about me. This group isn't about me, okay? I mean, I get edits, I get edited, but it's not about me. If it were about me, I would have had this following a long time ago. In the middle of talking about how it's not about you, you're going to bring up edits being made of you, making it about you, reveling in this attention you're getting, and then you're going to go on and talk about how you didn't get this attention sooner. Which doesn't mean that it's not about you, it just means that you didn't start a cult before now. See, you even admitted to trying to gather people who feel like they have nowhere to belong, and while that sounds great on the surface, it is a cult tactic. It's called being predatory. Things can happen with good intentions and they can get out of hand, but no. You should have left this at your little LARP videos, okay? Because in that more recent one, you were selling something. I was being sold something for sure, but I definitely was not buying it. Like, yeah, you may be joking about the lore and the entities and the rituals and stuff, but you're not joking about what you're creating underneath that.
So I found that take to be really interesting, honestly, and just something that I really hadn't, I guess, fully considered, because this is extremely odd behavior. This is kind of manipulative to put this in a addressing video, to kind of drop that information on us, and to kind of just sit here, ignore all these hateful comments and claim that you're making a positive community, to still try to appeal to these marginalized people who may be more likely to join something that they see as friendly to them. And I don't know. It's now there were a final few videos of her trying to backtrack. I'm just gonna read this one from her addressing everything. I started what was meant to be a fun creative community by kickstarting a voting styles choose your own adventure game. I genuinely didn't realize how hurtful the word cult could be to some, and although I wish I knew sooner, the last thing I wanted was to cause pain. I am very sorry for my insensitivity. Once I learned, I immediately ended the series. I never supported any harmful behavior. I'm sorry if anyone was hurt or impacted. That was never my intention. Moving forward, I will be using my platform to raise awareness by sharing resources for cult survivors and mental health. This whole experience happened very fast and was very difficult to figure out while receiving harassment and having my personal info leaked. I appreciate those who've been kind and patient while I navigate this. I'm committed to learning and doing better. Like I said before, should we dox this girl? No. Like I said before, is it important to keep in mind that she is somebody who is very well versed in social media, someone who understands this type of thing? Yes. I think this is somebody who knew that this type of rage baiting tactic, who knew that this type of clickbait would do very well for her, and saw an opening to create social media clout. Do I know 100% whether or not she is or was ever trying to start a cult? No. Can I say in my heart of hearts that I 100% know or 100% understand her intentions? No. But do I lean more after seeing the video of a person who literally has gone through a cult before, has survived a cult, talking about how it's really strange that she, when met with controversy, would immediately try to make herself look like the best person ever and not address anything and continue this idea arbitrarily of a kind-hearted community when we've already seen the stuff that is coming out of this community? Yeah, I think it's very weird. So I think that we should again continue to have our minds towards caution. It's just so hard because there are a lot of people who are online who are mentally ill, and I'm not saying they should get off of social media, but I think it's something that we should keep in mind. Gigi is sitting here apologizing. In the future, there will be people who continue to do this and continue to ignore the controversy. I think this is something that we should jump on now, and I do really want to urge the people who are like, oh, this is not so serious, oh, whatever. Please watch this video. Please watch, like, videos from cult survivors if you don't have the time, because I feel like this is going to be a very long video. Because this is something that I think is going to come back, and I think next time it's going to come back, they might learn from what happened to Gigi. They might learn from what happened to all these other people. They might not use the word cult, they might use the word community, but I swear, I don't know, I just feel in my heart of hearts that this is going to be something that comes back, and this is going to be something that y'all are going to see on the news one day if we keep playing with this and we keep acting like this is not something that's serious. But that is honestly all for me for today. I'm so sorry. Today was very heavy in my opinion, actually. Very heavy day today. If you couldn't watch today, I totally understand. I will see you all soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, everybody.